Hi, and welcome again to another edition of Market Analysis for today, April 19th, 2024. I'm Giovanni Betancourt, analyst, trader, and educator with Vantage Markets. Markets were reacting early today after Israel struck back at Iran, heightening the tensions in the Middle East. Israel aimed attacks at sites in central Iran where there's a drone factory. Unnamed U.S. officials acknowledged the incident. With that, oil prices spiked above $90 a barrel first thing before pulling back as markets grapple with the aftermath of the retaliation strikes against Iran. Brent crude futures prices, the international benchmark, had jumped about 3% to right around almost $91, $90.75, following initial reports of the attacks, later on pulling back to a 1% rise. Crude oil, WTI, had also risen to about $85.51 a barrel. Gold futures were little changed early Friday, right around the high was 2,417. That suggests traders aren't turning to the yellow metal as a safe haven amid deepening tensions. Gold prices are still up 1.5% over the past 5 days and 11% over the past month. U.S. stocks futures fell and the U.S. dollar was little changed against a basket of currencies early in the day. Much remain unclear about the extent or the impact of the Israeli action. The direct exchange of blows risks taking the conflict that began with militant group Hamas back on October 7th. Attack on Israel to a dangerous new level. The worry is that it could embroil the U.S. and Gulf states in a regional conflagration that they have worked very hard to prevent. So in front of us we have the Nasdaq daily candlestick chart, and with that news we saw how the contract, the Nasdaq, fell right around to 17,200. Quickly it retreated, it pulled back, but it's still in the red. So much of this could probably at the open of the U.S. Open would probably just embroil or just spill over to the U.S. session. So 17,000 being a round psychological number can be used as our support. The RSI is not yet in the oversold territory. So all of these tensions being Friday, also the VIX has jumped to about 19. So as the VIX creeps higher, that entitles a stronger sell-off or entitles more volatility. The fear index jumping. So we will probably see a continuation of that sell-off to the downside obviously in the Nasdaq towards the 17,000. I've had 17,700 as my resistance. This could also just as the U.S. Open gets in the way, it could probably spike above 17,000 towards the 17,800. But I'm more in favor of a movement to the downside for all indices. We see here the S&P. Also, I'm using 49.50 as my support, 50.80 as my resistance. So it could probably be met again. I'm using a very tight resistance just because of what has entitled, and that fear can again could probably spill over to the States. I could be wrong, and the market could just rally and at least sustain itself above the 5,000 marker psychological support level for the S&P. The Dow didn't have that much of a strong swing to the downside, but yet we're seeing that triple top has been created right around 38,285. So still favoring shorting the indices. Crude oil, this is the WTI and the CFDs. So crude oil contract fluctuated to around 85.51 and it quickly retreated. So $80 can be used as our psychological support level. $86 can also be used as a resistance in there. So let's see when the U.S. opens. Let's see if we can fluctuate upwards toward 83, 84 initially. So we have to wait and see what will happen. As far as the Nat Gas goes, well, it has been more of an uptrend early in the day, still in the green, but again, we could probably see some selling pressure being applied to it. So we could probably see that fluctuation coming down towards the $1.67 support level. Then gold, surprisingly enough, gold with that strike didn't really spike much higher. It did fluctuate above 2,400, but quickly retreated. Now we are beneath it. So again, we need to trade above 2,400 and close above 2,400. So that psychological resistance level right now can be turned into a support, and then start looking for move higher. 24.25 is our resistance level right now, which it has been holding off. So let's see if today will be any different. Then we have silver. Again, silver is just trading sideways, creating that coffin of congestion. A great setup for a breakout to the upside is being favored. RSI is not in the overbought territory. Copper has a stronger move to the upside. Copper is in RSI is in the overbought territory. So let's see. Yesterday we had a $4.45 as our resistance. We have fluctuated above it. We haven't really breaking it. Now we're gonna be using. We can also use the upper Bollinger Band as a dynamic resistance level. So we can be using that. I have mine at 455. So let's see if that will be met today. Bitcoin, with that news early in the day, it did fluctuate to the downside, fluctuated below 60,000, but quickly retreated and now it's in the green. So let's see, 67,000 will be our resistance for Bitcoin. The currencies are looking to stay strong and hold themselves. For the euro above 106, and for the pound above 124. The dollar index might lose some ground because of this. If we see that fluctuation to the downside, then we'll see a nice pickup on the currencies and the metals. That's it for me today. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.